Hey, YouTube, this is Al coming to you once again for Kindred Souls of Brooklyn, and I'm actually doing a little walk through Manhattan right now on the way home. As you can see, I'm at East 34th Street and 5th Avenue. I was thinking to myself, for my viewers out there, for people out there maybe who aren't used to seeing Manhattan, here's the Empire State Building right there. Or for the folks who have lived here and have moved away, this is 34th Street. One of the more popular places in Manhattan. I hope you guys don't mind the little bouncing because I'm going to be walking, but if there's anybody out there who's never been to Manhattan or maybe thinking that you'd want to work here one day or something, I mean, I actually have a couple of friends of mine who, here's a view of some of the traffic. I actually have friends of mine who, a few of them, who actually came to Manhattan and they're actually nervous, actually almost got an anxiety attack from all the sounds of the buses and all the taxis and all the horns blaring and just the commotion of the city. I mean, this city is kind of like it's kind of like an artwork in a sense of, or something that runs like a machine, or probably like a pocket watch with so many integral parts working all in sync and yet complicated and crazy and beautiful, a little bit of everything all in one. I'm going to be walking to the subway right now. That's a really, hold on a second, it's a double bus going by. My friend Tom out there in Colorado, Heartland Brewery. I didn't do a video there today, but my wife and I love to eat there. It's a great place to eat. There's, you know, honestly folks, there's everything here in the city that you'd want. Every restaurant known to humankind, between bodegas to franchises to you name it, diners that you just saw in my other video. I mean, if it exists in the world, it's pretty much here in Manhattan. There's not too many things that you really can't get here in the city. So, like I was saying, it could be a very intimidating place. To another friend of mine who might be watching, my friend Neil, my good friend Neil, who I worked with for many years in the Magic Kingdom. My friend Neil tells a very funny story about coming to Times Square, and he was going back to the airport. He was only here for a weekend, for a wedding, and he opened up the door to one of the taxis. He was going back to Kennedy Airport, and he just opened up the door and he said to the guy in the taxi, he said, hey, he goes, how much is it to go to Kennedy Airport? And with that, the taxi driver said gruffly, how much money do you got? So my friend Neil figured he might be on a long trip around the city because the guy obviously knew he was a tourist, but I really don't think that was the case. But Neil just decided, because there was so many taxis out there, he just decided to slam the door and go for another taxi. So just a little funny anecdote. There's so many funny stories here in the city. Hope you guys are enjoying this video, because I was thinking, like I said, you know, a lot of people who might not come from here. I have a good friend in London, in the London area, and they've never been to New York City, and I'm thinking to myself, hey, maybe I'll take a video. You get somewhat of an idea. I mean, we've all seen videos and stuff, and there's lots to do here in Manhattan. I mean, you got Broadway, and you have, so close to the city, so many things like Met in Yankee Stadium. You saw the Empire State Building, the Circle Line. There's just so many things here. And what's amazing is this is the melting pot pretty much of the world. I mean, you have every culture, every religion is represented. And I must say, you know, New York is a very democratic place. You know, everybody's beliefs are respected. It's not like you can go to certain parts of the United States, and if you have certain beliefs, they're kind of like, you know, not really accepted really well. And you know, New York has a bad reputation for being a little tough, but I really don't think tough is really the word. It's just that everybody, as you can see, is in a rush. They're all paying high rents and they're all running around, and it's just more of a nervous thing, I think. You know, so I mean, New York is my experience. I mean, being someone who's lived through 9/11, I can tell you honestly that New Yorkers are amazing. I mean, they all pulled together. They did what they had to do, and just so many amazing stories came out of that. And I was very proud to say that I had lived through that, and we got through it okay. So just to maintain the happiness here, we're coming up on, I'll show you in a minute here. We got right there, we got Macy's, the world's largest store, which it is. For those of you who like parades, this is where the parade starts every year. This is the flagship of the Macy's company. You see it right there, that's Herald Square. We got some of New York's finest, or rather New York's bravest, going through. But anyway, that's Herald Square right there, and that's where the parade starts every year that you see on TV. Right on West 34th Street, 6th Avenue. Another idea there. Actually got a little closer to Macy's here. There's Macy's. And I mentioned New York's finest before, so you got some of that over there too. Verizon. Just a lot of places. You see these vendors here on the street. Here we have our train station right there. Folks, you want to say a few words on a YouTube video about New York City?
Oh, no, thank you.
No?
We're new.
You new? New to New York? Okay. Everyone's in a rush, like I said. All right, so going down into the subway, which, you know, is the great equalizer. You see movie actors down here. You see everybody down here. I don't think we'll see anybody today. My battery's running low. But for those of you guys who've never seen a New York City subway, we got Burger King right in there too. This is the great equalizer in New York City. It's the subway. A lot of famous things on the subway. A lot of history. We have a lot of singers on the subway. This is a guy singing here. Let's hear a little action.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light to see. And I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid. No, just as long.
Really cool guy. You know, we have a friend of ours. Thanks you guys for tuning in so long. I appreciate this. My train is the F train. We have a friend of ours, friend of the family. What that guy is doing is actually called, it's called busking, which is basically, you know, just singing in the subway. And we have a family friend of ours who actually got discovered doing that. He's actually singing on cruise ships now. He's got the lead in a really big show, making really good money. And I always knew this guy was had talent. In fact, I don't want to mention his name, but I called him Broadway and his name after that because he was always singing and dancing. a good friend of my son's, and little shout out to him if he's watching. This is rush hour, so it's going to be really, really busy here too. So, oh, you guys just missed it. One of our favorite little pets on the subway are mice and rats. One just ran about 20 feet from me, but don't let that kid you. The subway is very efficient. It's just little pets on the subway. So this is my train. This is the F train. Getting on at 34th Street, heading over to Prospect Park, 15th Street. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you real soon.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Have a great day, and we'll talk to you real soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.